Many parents I meet with have made the commitment of putting aside money for their child's financial future. $50 a month, $100 a month, $200 a month into a high interest savings account. This feels like the right thing to do. It feels like the loving thing to do. But the problem is that this strategy rarely gives parents the outcome they were hoping for. In this video, I'm going to share with you why for many families, investing beats savings when it comes to your child's financial future, and how this strategy can give your child a significant head start in life. Now, I've been a financial coach for over 35 years. I've had the privilege to walk alongside literally hundreds of families, and I've seen firsthand the outcome of both of these strategies. I'll walk you through 5 reasons why I encourage investing over savings, and I'll use a simple $50 per month saving plan so that you can see the numbers for yourself. Imagine your child getting to 18, and rather than just having a few $1,000s that looks like spending money in the bank, they've got a real asset and they understand how it works. Now, if after watching this video you would like a step-by-step guide on how to start investing for your kids, then can I encourage you to check out the link in the description below, where you will find a free training that will show you exactly what to do and how to do it. So let's have a look at what we're going to cover in this video. Firstly, we are going to have a look at why cash is not really a good investment over the longer term. We're then going to look at your child's greatest asset when it comes to investing. We're going to look at how we can use investing as a tool to teach your child incredibly valuable financial lessons. Then we're going to have a look at how investing for your kids often then becomes something we do together as a family. And finally, we're going to look at the hidden win that most parents overlook when it comes to investing for your child. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. But before we get stuck into it, there's just one more thing that I need to share with you, and that is, mums and dads, please make sure that you've got your own financial house in order before you start putting money aside for your kids. Please make sure that you've got enough money set aside so that when your known expenses turn up, the money is just sitting there ready to go. Please make sure that you've got money set aside in a rainy day fund for the unexpected expenses. Please make sure that you've got rid of all your high interest debt, your credit card debt, personal debt, those are things, before you start putting money aside for your kids. Because the best investment you can make in your child's financial future is ensuring that your own financial house is in order first. So let's have a look at the first reasons why I recommend investing over saving when it comes to your child's financial future. And that simply is that cash loses its purchasing value over time. If we have a look here, this is the cost of goods back in 1867. You can see here, for instance, that a loaf of bread in 1867 would cost us somewhere between 5 and 9 pennies. Today, that same, well, in fact, 2020, that same loaf of bread would cost us around $3.06, and post-COVID, it's probably closer to $3.50. We know that this is happening. We see it happening, and particularly since COVID, we've seen the cost of power bills go up. We've seen the cost of groceries go up. We've seen the cost of petrol go up. Everything seems to be getting more expensive. So let's have a look at the impact of this with a very simple example of putting $50 per month aside, either into a savings account earning 4%, or into an index fund earning 9.8%, which is a long-term average. So what we've got here is the blue number here represents $50 per month earning 4% over 18 years. So let's say we start the day our child is born to the day they reach 18. You can see that would turn into $15,667 here. However, because of the impact of inflation, that same money would actually only be worth $9,202 in terms of how much it could buy when our child reaches 18. If, however, we take the same $50 and we invest it into an index fund, that index fund by age 18 would be worth $28,000. However, again, because of inflation, you would really only get $16,459 in terms of purchasing power. But that is almost double what you would be getting from the cash. The second reason why I recommend that parents consider investing instead of savings is that their child's greatest asset is time. They have time. When parents start putting money aside for their children, they're not thinking 1 year ahead, even 5 years ahead. They're typically thinking 10 or 20 years. And what happens is that when we think long term, the long-term timeframes smooth out those inevitable ups and downs that we see in the financial markets. And it also means that if we're invested in quality assets, the long-term trend is almost always up. Now, of course, we can't say definitely that will be the case in the future, but certainly the past will show us that the long-term trend with quality investments has always been up. So let's have a quick look at an example. This is the Australian share market over the last 120 years. On a regular basis, we do see market corrections, significant market corrections. Back in the 1970s, we saw a 65% fall. In the early 80s, we saw a 43% fall. In the late 80s, we saw a 46% fall. In 2007, 2008, we saw the GFC, so we saw a 50% fall there. And during COVID, which isn't quite on here, we saw a very sharp 50% fall. These things happen, but with time, what happens is the trend still remains up, and time allows us to smooth out all those ups and downs, which is incredibly powerful. And if we look at this in terms of the compound interest curve, you can see that this is starting at age 18 to age 75. If your child invested 10% of the average salary into an index fund again, this is what would happen over time. Now, you go, okay, starting at 18, doesn't do much for a few years there, but then suddenly starts to take off when they get into their 40s. But what if you could actually give them a 18, 20 year head start, because you've already started investing for them. So by the time they start investing for themselves, they're already well down the track. And that is the power of getting started early. The third reason why I recommend investing over savings is that you can use this investment vehicle as a tool to teach your kids valuable money lessons, like money can make money. This here is a snapshot of my youngest daughter's Vanguard account. She and her siblings have been investing since they were teenagers, themselves putting their own money in from their jobs they did and so on, and they've continued that. Every month my daughter puts, even though she's still at uni, she puts $100 into one index fund, $100 into another index fund. But what we'll see from her transaction report here is that there's the 100 she puts in, but we also have other little transactions in there, which is a dividend that these investments are now making her, dividends that get invested back into buying more shares, which compounds and allows her fund to grow that much faster. And the second incredibly valuable lesson that we can teach our kids when they've got investments is how to embrace market volatility, how to embrace it and not fear it. We can help them develop a really strong, healthy mindset around investing so that when the inevitable ups and downs in the financial markets come, instead of worrying about that, they see these dips in the markets just like they would the Boxing Day sales, an opportunity to buy high quality assets, more high quality assets at a cheaper price, which means that their long-term profitability will be that much greater. And the third really powerful opportunity that comes when you've got investment set up for your kids is that when they begin their first part-time jobs, they can start contributing to the portfolio themselves. And this will give them real ownership over their investments. As the market goes down, they're able to buy more units. And as the market goes up, the overall value of their portfolio is increasing. If you can get them confident and comfortable investing at this point in life, you have set them up for life. And the fourth reason why I recommend parents set up investments instead of savings accounts for their kids' financial future is that it is often a catalyst then for parents to get started investing themselves. Too often I see parents who think that investing needs to be difficult, investing needs to be complicated, that we need some kind of fancy pants strategy, but the reality is we don't. And when we can simply just set up an index fund for our child that we're dollar cost averaging into every month, it becomes very apparent that, hey, this isn't nearly as hard as I thought it was. And as a result, the parents can then just replicate the process for themselves. Over my 30 years of financial coaching, I have so often seen that getting the kids set up first is then the gateway for the parents to get started investing themselves. And the fifth reason I recommend investing over saving for your child's financial future is that it gives your child more options when they reach 18. Instead of just having money in a bank account, which looks a lot like spending money to your child, you are giving them an asset. Now, of course, with that asset, they could continue to invest in it and to grow it over time, which is what you hope they'll do. Or they could take the money and they could use it to achieve a life goal, or they could simply just cash it out. But you are giving them more options. And with an asset, you can also help them develop, as we talked before, that asset mindset. And if they can get that asset mindset where their money is making money, if you can get that in place, and you're well on your way to raising a financially independent young adult. The other thing to note here is that with a lot of the investment platforms, Vanguard, Perla, Raise, you can set up what's called an informal trust where the investment is in the child's name. You need to pay the tax on it while they're still a minor, but the moment they turn 18, you can hand that investment over to them and they are then responsible for it, but there is no capital gains tax implications in transferring the money over to them at that point. So it can also be very tax effective. So those are the 5 really big reasons why I recommend parents consider investing over saving for their child's financial future. Now, if you found this helpful so far, can I please encourage you to click the like button, because that does help my content and my channel reach more families. And please subscribe, because every week I release more practical, no fluff money videos to help you and your family thrive financially. So please click the like and hit the subscribe. So let's finish up with a really quick summary. The first thing to note is that cash is not a good long-term investment because it loses its purchasing value over time. The second thing is that we want to be able to embrace time as our child's greatest asset when it comes to investing. We want to help them move as far and fast through those early years of the compound interest curve as possible so they can really start to see their money working for them. And it's also important to note that time smooths out all the lumps and bumps in the financial markets. The third thing is that having a share portfolio is a wonderful tool to teach our kids some incredibly valuable money skills, to help them grow in the understanding of financial markets, to help them understand that volatility is something to be embraced and not to be feared. Also, I've seen this happen so often, is that when parents set up investments for their kids, they have that aha moment and realize, hey, this isn't nearly as hard or complicated as I thought, and they can then get investments set up for themselves, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a wonderful thing. And the last lesson in this process is that when we give our kids a share portfolio as opposed to cash in the bank, we are giving them options. And not only are we giving them options, we're helping them to develop a strong asset mindset, which will really set them up for a strong financial future. Thank you so much for watching this video. I genuinely hope that it's been helpful and that it's challenged your thinking around investing versus saving for your child's financial future. And if you would like to join a community of parents who are all striving to raise financially independent young adults from age 5 to age 25, then can I encourage you to check out the link to my Money Boss Kids program in the description below. Thank you again for being here. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.